शारदे पाहि मां शङ्कर रक्ष मां 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 शारदे पाहि मां शङ्कर रक्ष माम् शारदे पाहि मां शङ्कर रक्ष मां शारदे पाहि मां शङ्कर रक्ष मां शारदे पाहि मां शङ्कर रक्ष मां शारदे
ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।
शारदा शारदाम्बोज वदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वथा सर्वथा अस्माकं सन्निधिं क्रियात्। ओं भारती करुणापात्रं भारती पदभूषणं भारती पदमारुषं भारती चित्तमाश्रये। ओं विद्या विनय संपन्नं वीतराम विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदांत तत्त्वज्ञं विदुशेखर भारतीं तत्कुरु चरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। Thank you all for joining us again for the Vande Vidya Shankaram series. Today we'll continue with your program by Sri Pranav Swaminathan on Vishnu Sahasranama Stora. Please take it away, Pranav. Thank you so much.
ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। परो मात्रया तन्वा आप्रधाननते महित्वमन्वश्नुवन्ति उभे ते विद्मरजसि पृथिव्या विष्णो देवत्वं परमस्य वित्से। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। भारतीकरुणापात्रं भारतीपदभूषणं भारतीपदमारूढं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रिये। विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विधुशेखरभारतीम्। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदान्तवेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे। कृष्णद्वैपायनो व्यासं सर्वलोकहिते रतं वेदाब्जभास्करं वन्दे शमादिनिलयं मुनिं। सहस्रमूर्तेः पुरुषोत्तमस्य सहस्रनेत्राननपादबाहोः सहस्रनाम्नां स्तवनं प्रशस्तं निरुच्यते जन्मजरादिशान्ति। श्रुत्वा धर्मानशेषेण पावनानि च सर्वशः युधिष्ठिरश्शान्तनवं पुनरेवाभ्यभाषत। युधिष्ठिर उवाच किमेकं दैवतं लोके किं वाप्येकं परायणं स्तुवन्तः कं कमर्चन्तः प्राप्नुयुर्मानवाः शुभं। को धर्मः सर्वधर्माणां भवतः परमो मतः किञ्जपन्मुच्यते जन्तुर्जन्मसंसारबन्धनात्। श्रीभीष्म उत्तरमुवाच जगत्प्रभुं देवदेवमनन्तं पुरुषोत्तमं स्तुवन्नाम सहस्रेण पुरुषः सततोत्थितः। तमेव चार्चयन् नित्यं भक्त्या पुरुषमव्ययं ध्यायन् स्तुवन्नमस्यंस्य यजमानस्तमेव च अनादिनिधनं विष्णुं सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं लोकाध्यक्षं स्तुवन् नित्यं सर्वदुःखातिगो भवेत् ब्रह्मण्यं सर्वधर्मज्ञं लोकानां कीर्तिवर्धनं लोकनाथं महद्भूतं सर्वभूतभवोद्भवम् एष मे सर्वधर्माणां धर्मोऽधिकतमो मतः यद्भक्त्या पुण्डरीकाक्षं स्तवैरर्चेन्नरः सदा परमय्यो महत्तेजः परमय्यो महत्तपः परमय्यो महद्ब्रह्म परमय्यः परायणं पवित्राणां पवित्रय्यो मङ्गलानां च मङ्गलं दैवतं देवतानां च भूतानां यो व्ययः पिता. Until this, we had seen in the Vishnu Sahasranama Bhashya Pavitranam Pavitram and Mangalanam cha Mangalam. So, Adi Shankaracharya, he gives the Karmakanda meaning of Pavitram and the Jnanakanda meaning as well. For the Karmakanda meaning, he says Tirthadinam Pavitram, Pavananam Tirthadinam Pavitram. So, like how we have the Ganga Tirtha, the one that is the purest among the pure is the one meaning of Pavitram. For example, there are multiple doshas that we see, and for those we do certain samskaras, the snanadi samskaras, snana, anusthana, uh, all these other shodasha samskaras we have for the purification of the sharira. But these purifications are not Shashvata, they are not Nitya. We have to keep doing it over and over again. That is why in the Sankalpa we say Apavitrah Pavitrova Sarvavasthangatopika Yasmarete Pundarikaksham Sabahya Abhyantara Shuchihi. So by the smarana of Ishvara, we get the Shuddhi of the internal and external qualities. And this Shuddhi is necessary, whether it be in a Vedantic text, Chitta Shuddhi, or in a Samanya way, Sharira Shuddhi. The Shuddhi is always something that is very emphasized in Dharma. That's why Veda says, Prajapatyam Pavitram Shatodhyamagum Hiranmayam Tena Brahmavido Vayam. So, by this Shuchi, Prajapatyam Pavitram Shatodhyamam Hiranmayam Tena Brahmavidaha Vayam. By that Shuchi, we become Brahmavitaha or Brahmajnanis. So the first step for Shuchi is these Punya Vachanadi karmas, these samskaras that gives us Shuchi. And as we saw in the previous class, the main thing that gives Shuchi in Kali Yuga is Bhagavan Nama. So for that, Adi Shankaracharya had quoted various dozens of quotations that gives the pradhana of Ishvara Dhyana. For example, Adi Shankara quoted, Rupam Arogyam Arthamscha Bhogeishchanu Anushangigan Dadati Dhyayato Nityam Apavarga Prado Harihi. So Apavarga is moksha. The four goals of each Manushya can be split into the Trivarga and Apavarga, where Dharma, Artha, and Kama fall into the Trivarga, and the Apavarga, which is the only Nitya or everlasting one, is Moksha. So, this in the Kali Yuga, this Nama Smarana, this Nama Sankirtana is said to be a Hetu for Moksha. So, for that, Adi Shankaracharya had quoted various shlokas from Itihasa Purana and Shruti, which we had seen before. Now, after Pavitranam Pavitram Yaha, the next one was Mangalanam Cha Mangalam, for which we had seen last time was Mangalanam Cha Mangalam. So, Mangalam is said as Sukham Tat Sadhanam Tat Jnapakancha. So, Mangalam the Sadhyam, Sukham Tat Sadhanam, the sadhana for that, the means for that, and Tat Jnapakancha, the one that shows us that marga. So, all three are being referred to here by the Shabda Mangala. So, Mangalam, which is the Sadhyam, which is Sukham, Tat Sadhanam, the sadhana for Sukham, and tad jnapakam, which is the shastras. The sadhana for sukha is dharma, and for the one that tells us the dharma is the shastras. That's why we see dhana dharmam tatas sukham. So from dhana we can do dharma, and with that dharma we can get sukha in the laukika sense. And tesham api paramananda lakshanam param mangalam iti mangalanam cha mangalam. So we had left off what is daivatam devatanam cha. Devanam devah dyotanadibihi samutkarshena vartamanatvat. Dyotanadibihi, the one that has duty, means the devas, the Ishvara, Indra the devas. In one sense, we can see them as the devas, and in the other sense, we can see them as the Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, and Manas. These Ekadasha also have this duty in it. So the Lord of all that, Indriya, right? Indriya, Indra, they're all coming from the same dhatu. So the topmost of those, Daivatam Devatanam cha. We had previously seen that Daivatam means Devaha. So Devanam Devaha, the God of the gods, is this Paramatma. And how is that? Because of the Samutkarashena Vartamanatva. Like we had seen in the quotation Adi Shankaracharya himself gave. Yena Suryas Tapati Tejasedhaha. So for all this Jada Jyoti that we see, there is one Chit Jyoti which is Paramatma. Yena Suryas Tapati Tejasedhaha. By what Surya has that tapana or that radiance is said to be the Lakshana of Paramatma. And Bhutanam cha avyayah vyaharahitah pita janakah yah devah saha ekam daivatam loke iti vakyarthah. Daivatam devatanam cha bhutanam yovyayah pita. So pita, avyayah pita, meaning avyayah, meaning vyayarahitah, the one that does not have any change. Pita, janakah. Janakah means creator. Yah devah saha ekam daivatam loke iti vakyarthah. So, until now, Bhishma has answered 5 of the 6 prashnas asked by Yudhishthira. And the first prashna was Kimekam Devatam Loke. For this shloka, Pavitranam Pavitram Yo Mangalanam Cha Mangalam, Devatam Devatanam Cha Bhutanam Yaha Avyaha Pita is said. So, the last bhaga is Ekaha Devaha. So, how is there only one Deva? स एकं दैवतं लोके इति वाक्यार्थः. सो एको देवः सर्वभूतेषु गूढः सर्वव्यापी सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा कर्माध्यक्षः सर्वभूताधिवासः साक्षी चेता केवलो निर्गुणश्च is one of the quotations. He says, he quotes for ekah devah. So there is only one. Ekah devah sarvabhuteshu gudaha, that is in all bhutas, that is shining within all bhutas, within all pranis. Sarvavyapi sarvabhutantaratma. Sarvavyapi meaning the one that is omnipresent. Sarvabhutantaratma, antaratma of the sarvabhutas is within the atma of sarva, all the pranis. Karmadhyakshah sarvabhutadhivasah. And he is watching over all karma and dwelling in all beings. And he is the Sakshi. Sakshi Cheta Kevalo Nirgunascha. He is Sakshi. He is the witness of everything, dwelling in all beings, the perceiver as well, and the only one free from any attributes. Kevalo Nirgunascha. Kevalaha Nirgunascha. Without a single attribute is the Lakshana of Paramatma. The next quotation he gives is very popular in Vedanta, and it is said to be done japa of by sannyasis every day. Yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam, yo vai vedamscha prahinoti tasmai, tamhadevam atmabuddhi prakasham mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapadye. This mumukshu, the one that has the ichha for moksha, he does one prarthana nitya. Yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam, yo vai vedamscha prahinoti tasmai. The one that did srishti of Brahma and who gave that Vedas to Brahma and told him to propagate it. The creator of Brahma, to that creator, tasmai sharanamaham prapadye. To that Paramatma, I do sharanam. Sharanam in other Vedantic schools it can mean doing sharanagati, but here it means the knowledge that the bhakta and Bhagavan are the same. So tamhadevam atma buddhi prakasham mukshurvai sharanam aham prapadye. And who? To Paramatma, Paramatmane. Yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam, yo vai vedamscha prahinoti tasmai. So, me being a mumukshu, let me do sharana of the Paramatma that gave Brahma the Vedas, who created Brahma and then gave him the Vedas, is the meaning of this shloka. Iti Shvetashvataranam Mantropanishadi. Seyam Devataikshat Ekameva Advitiyam Iti Chandogye. So the previous quotations were from Shvetashvatara Upanishad, and now Shankaracharya quotes two small vakyas from Chandogya Upanishad, which are Seyam Devataikshat and Ekameva Advitiyam. So it's saying that Paramatma thought there was and there is only one without duality. Ekameva Advitiyam. So these were the quotations from Chandogya Upanishad. Now, until this, that is okay. But what about the Bheda between Jiva and Brahma? So now that Shankaracharya himself poses that question. So as the Purva Paksha, Nanu katham ekaha devaha jiva parayoho bhedat. So katham ekaha devaha. How is there only one God? Jiva parayoho bhedat. Para meaning Paramatma, Brahman. There is a difference between Jiva and Brahman Kalu. So what is that? How can there only be one if there is two, Jiva and Para? So that is the Purva Paksha that he is giving, and then he says, Na tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat. In Taittiropanishad, Shruti says, Tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat. Having created it, tat srishtva, after creating it, he entered within it, along with it. So the entire Srishti is that Atma itself. Tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat. In Taittiriya Upanishad, and sa esha iha pravishta anakhagrebhya in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says he entered into the universe with two until the very tips of the fingernails. Anakhagrebhya, meaning into the sharira of all pranis until the nakha. So even as a jada vastu, that only has sat. If it's a chit vastu, it has both sat, chit and ananda. But he has done pravesha into all shariras, whether it is a living sharira or non-living sharira, until the nakhagrebhya. Nakhagrebhya meaning the agra, or the end of the sharira. The nakhagra is said to be the end of the sharira. So until, from the beginning until then, nakhagrebhya is Panchami. So both the Jiva and Paramatma are identical because the Shruti is now quoting that the Supreme that has no vikara, no modifications, entered the body as the witness of the Buddhi and its modifications. So what Adi Shankaracharya says is, Iti ityadi shrutibhya adhikritya parasya buddhi tat vritti sakshitvena प्रवेश श्रवणात् अभेदः परस्य बुद्धि तद्वृद्धि साक्षित्वेन. The vritti meaning the sharira, parasya buddhi tadvritti sakshitvena, and the vritti, because he is the sakshi of all of that, he is no different than jiva. So pravishtanam iteretara bhedat paratmaikatvam khatam iti chet na. Another Purvapakshi is Purvapaksha Matha is being brought, but there is a difference between that which entered and the one that followed as the Sakshi, right? So how can they both be the same? How can there only be one? And for that also he says, Na eko devaha bahudha sannivishtaha ekas san bahudha vicharaha tvamekosi bahuna nupravishtaha. In Taittiriya Yajurveda, in the Prashna Chittisruk, there is a prashna called Suvarnam Gharmam Parivedavenam, which is which the Shringeri Acharyas are very fond upon this Anuvaka. In this Anuvaka, which is in the Karma Kanda, it's not in any Upanishad, in the Tritiya Prashna of the Aranyaka, starting with Chittisruk, in the Suvarnam Gharmam Parivedavenam, these three Vakyas are said which show the Jiva Para Aikya, that the Sakshi and the one are both the same as well. Eko Devaha Bahudha Sannivishtaha Ekassan Bahudha Vicharaha Tvamekosi Bahuna Napravishtaha. So what do these mean? Ekassan Bahudha Vicharaha. The only one is considered as many. Eko Devaha Bahudha Sannivishtaha. The one Deva became many. And Tvamekosi Bahuna Napravishtaha. You should know the one who followed many that entered. Tvam ekosi bahun anupravishtaha. So that only one thing did pravesha into multiple things. So that same thing is within you and me and within all the beings. So how can there only be one? But here Shruti itself says, Tvamekosi bahun anupravishtaha. So it did pravesha, that same one thing did pravesha into all the jivas. So the one in one jiva is not different from the one in the other jiva. So this Purva Paksha Matha is also not valid. So the Shrutis teach that there is only one that entered as many, and there is no difference between the many that entered and the one that followed. Iti ekasyeva bahudha pravesha shravanat pravishtanam cha na bhedah. So there is also no bheda or difference between the one that has done pravesha into the multiple beings, because only that one thing has done pravesha into multiple things. So there is no difference. So if you have jala, right, whether we have jala in a kupa or nadi or samudra, the water is the same. So like that, even though it has done pravesha into multiple things, there is only one. So there is no difference between the sakshi and the jiva and para. Is said by Shruti, which is the swatah pramanam. It has the utmost authority, meaning the Vedas. So since the Vedas say it, then there is no question for that. And in the Hiranyagarbha Sukta, Hiranyagarbha ityashto mantraha kasmai devaya ityatra ekara lopena ekadevata pratipadakaha taitriyake. So here a very very big rahasya is being brought out by Adi Shankaracharya. Normally when we study the Padapatha Veda, the pada is only kasmai devaya havisha vidhema. So to that god we are giving this havis, this yajna havis. It is normally thought of as Hiranyagarbha to Brahma. But now Adi Shankaracharya is bringing upon a huge rahasya which not many people know, which is that Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema, there is actually Ekara Lopa. It should be Ekasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema. Normally nobody would know this, because when you study the Padapatha Vedas, Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema, 4 padas. But actually before the ka, there should be a ekara lopena. Lopa meaning the reduction. Because of the reduction of the ekara, ekasmai became kasmai devaya. So here also Taittiriya Veda, it says ityatra ekara lopena ekadaivata pratipadakaha taitriyake. So even in the Taittiriya Yajurveda, there is only ekadevata pratipadaka mantraha. So there is only one deva that is being discussed here. So now we have slowly seen how he has gone, Adi Shankaracharya has gone from bhakti to pure shastra. So this Purva Paksha and Siddhanta that we are seeing is the same type of Purva Paksha and Siddhanta that Adi Shankaracharya does in Gita Bhashya, Upanishad Bhashya and Brahma Sutra Bhashya. In fact, later when he quotes some Brahma Sutra Adhikarana, he gives things that he did not even say in Brahma Sutra Bhashya in this Vishnu Sahasranama Bhashya. That is why we have been saying from the beginning, this Vishnu Sahasranama Bhashya, depending on the Adhikari, can be taken as a Shastra Grantha, not just a Stotra Grantha. Until now, we have not even seen a single Nama that Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkara has not even started. But even within this, the Purva Petika itself, the entire Advaita Tattva is being brought about, like how it is in Shastra Granthas or Bhashya Granthas, that he has written Vyakhyana of. So that is the greatness so far. So in the previous slokas, Pavitranam Pavitram Yaha, he was going into the Mahima of Nama Japa. How whatever he does, he must do Smarana of Vishnu. If he does not do Smarana for Vishnu for one Muhurta, he should be that so depressed that he did lost his opportunity, like that he was saying. Now within the same shloka, he has now transformed from bhakti to pure Advaita. Because first we need bhakti. The quality of a guru is, one of them is avrijinaha. Avrijinaha means one that does not do papa. So first, for the cleanliness, for the destruction, for the papa kshaya, for the destruction of the papas, for the sins, we need all this bhakti that lead to chitta shuddhi. So bhakti is a hetu for chitta shuddhi. But only with that chitta shuddhi we can get moksha. Without chitta shuddhi we cannot directly go to atmagyan. Like that, when Krishna says in the Charma Shloka of Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman Parityajya, one may ask, why does he not say Sarva Adharman Parityajya, right? Or Dharma Uparityajya, right? Because within that dharma pada, both dharma and adharma are both being described. Because for somebody at that stage, the charma shloka is at the end of the Ashtadasha Adhyaya of Bhagavad Gita, which is at the end of the teaching. There he says Sarva Dharman Parityajya. What does that mean? For that type of adhikari, the adharmas were left a long time back. There is no need to even mention again here, don't do adharma. That is all there in the Karma Kanda. Satyam Vada Dharmanchara Swadhyaya Anma Pramadaha. All these dharmas are prescribed, and all the adharmas are also said to be then nishedha. Namagum samashniyat nastriyamupeyat. So all of those vakyas, they tell you not to do dharma, and the prayashittas for doing adharma. So when we are doing sharanagati, or when we are on the marga of jnana, there is no need to again now discuss adharma. So for that, the bhakti was there. Through bhakti, tadvara chitta shuddhi, and tadvara jnanam. Bhagavan says, Karmanas sukritasyahuhu satvikam nirmalam phalam rajasastu phalam dukkham ajnanam tamasaf phalam. So this ajnana, that bheda buddhi, is said to be the phala of tamas. So rajasastu phalam dukkham, satvikam nirmalam phalam. So for Satvika, we have this pure phala. For the Rajoguna, we have dukkham as the phala. And for tamas, we have jnanam as the phala. So until now, we have seen the great rahasya that this Kasmai Devaya in Hiranyagarbha Sukta should be Ekasmai Devaya. Now, he now quotes Kathopanishad in various quotations. अग्निर्यथैको भुवनं प्रविष्टः रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बभूव एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बहिश्च अवायुर्यथैको भुवनं प्रविष्टः रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बभूव एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बहिश्च सूर्यो यथा सर्वलोकस्य चक्षुः न लिप्यते चाक्षुषैः बाह्यदोषैः एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा न लिप्यते दुःखेन बाह्यः एको वशी सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा एकं रूपं बहुधा यः करोति तमात्मस्थं येन पश्यन्ति धीराः तेषां सुखं शाश्वतं नेतरेषाम् नित्यो नित्यानां चेतनश्चेतनानाम् एको बहूनां यो विदधाति कामान् तमात्मस्थं येन पश्यन्ति धीराः तेषां शान्तिः शाश्वती नेतरेषाम्. For some small background, in the Kathopanishad, Vajashravas has a son named Nachiketas. This Nachiketas was sent to Yama because Vajashravas had given cows that were not of good standard as dakshina in the yagas. So he asks, where do you give me? And then he says, Mrityave tva dadami. This same shloka, this same katha which we see in Kathopanishad can be seen in the Kataka Bhaga of Yajurveda in the Chatusvarya. The same katha that we see in Kathopanishad in the Upanishad Bhaga In the Karmakanda Bhaga itself, in Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda, we can see with the Chatusvarya. उषण हवैवाजश्रपसः सर्ववेदसन्दतो तस्य हनचिकेता नाम पुत्र आस तगुं हकुमारगुं सन्तं दक्षिणासु नीयमानासु श्रद्धा विवेश सहोवाच ततकस्मै मान्दा अस्यसीति द्वितीयं तृतीयं तगुं हपरीत उवाच मृत्यवे त्वा ददामीति. So Vajashrava says, I will give you to Mrityu, Mrityave etva dadamiti. And then this Nachiketas goes to Yamaloka and he gets Brahma Vidya Upadesha from Sakshat Yama himself. This is the Katha, this is the background of Kathopanishad. So, for quoting that there is only one Paramatma and there is no difference between Jiva and Paramata, there is only one Sat, Adi Shankara quotes this teaching that Yama gives to Nachiketas. अग्निर्यथेको भुवनं प्रविष्टः रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बभूव एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बहिश्च. As that one Agni, that one fire, after it has entered the world, assumes different forms according to whatever it enters, so that Eka Paramatma, that one Paramatma within all things, assumes different forms according to whatever it enters, and it exists also without. Rupam Rupam Pratirupo Bahishcha. Like that. For the next, for Vayu, Vayuryatheko Bhavanam Pravishtaha Rupam Rupam Pratirupo Babhuva Ekastatha Sarvabhutantaratma Rupam Rupam Pratirupo Bahischa. As the one Vayu, that one air, after it has entered the world, assumes different forms according to whatever it enters, so that one self, that one Paramatma, within all assumes different forms according to whatever it enters and exists also without. In Tarkashastra, we see that Vayuhu Lakshanam is Ruparahita Sparshaman Vayuhu. And this Vayu is then given the Bhedas. There are 5 Vayus. Pranapana Vyanodana Samanaha. So these are given Sanghyas or names based on the sthana in the body. शरीरान्तः संचारी वायुः प्राणः सचः एकः सच एकः अपि उपाधिभेदात् प्राणापानादिसंज्ञां लभते. उपाधिभेदात् नाम स्थानभेदात् they get the pranapana vyana udana and samana, these names संज्ञां लभते. So this one vayu does pravesha into the sharira and it can, once it go externally, it loses that form. Like if we have jala, the jala takes whatever, any gas takes the form of the container. So we can put that same jala in one panjabatra, or we can put it in a bucket, we can put we can put it back into the samudra, into a nadi. So when it goes back, yat prayanti abhisamvishanti, we see as the tatastha lakshana of Brahman. Yato va imani bhutani jagante yena jatani jivanti yat prayanti abhisamvishanti. So it takes a rupa when it enters that sharira, and when it goes back, it has no rupa again. Does Vayu have any rupa? No, right? Like that. सूर्यो यथा सर्वलोकस्य चक्षुः न लिप्यते चाक्षुषैर्बाह्यदोषैः एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा न लिप्यते सर्वदुःखेन बाह्यः. So as the sun, the eye of the whole world, sarvalokasya chakshuhu, the entire chakshu, or the entire, the eyes of the entire world, is not contaminated. It does not have the dosha of the eyes, right? So if one cannot see properly, that does not affect Surya, right? As the Surya, the eyes of the entire world, sarvalokasya chakshushu na lipyate chakshushaihi bahya doshaihi. It is not contaminated, na lipyate. It is not affected by the external impurities seen by the eyes or by any other bahi vastu, external vastu, bahya doshaihi. तथा एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा न लिप्यते सर्वदुःखेन बाह्यः. Like that, the one self within all pranis, within all bhutas, within all creatures, is never contaminated by the misery of the world, being himself without. Na lipyate loka dukkhena bahyah. In Gita, Bhagavan says, Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasapape na padma patra vivambhasa. Again, there also the same Vishayas. Like how in a river, if we have that padma patra, the lotus on top of the leaf is not affected by anything else. Like that, here also we are saying, na lipyate loka dukkhena bahyaha. These are not affected, like how Surya is not affected by doshas in the eyes of other people, even though he is the Sarvalokasya Chakshushu. And again, Yamadharma continues, Eko vashi sarvabhutantaratma ekam rupam bahudha yah karoti tamatmastham ye anupashyanti dhiraha tesham sukham shashvatam netaresham. So that there is only one ruler, Vashi, Ekaha Vashi. Sarvabhutantaratma, as we saw in the previous slokas, the self within all beings, who makes one form. The wise perceive within their self to the beings external, to the wise who perceive him within their self, this Atma within their self. For them there is no dukkha. To them belongs eternal happiness, not to others. Tamatmastham, Atmastham, the one that is situated in the Atma, Tam Atmastham ye anupashyanti dhiraha, ye who dhira, dhira means wise men, anupashyanti, who see that in within themselves, that one Atma within themselves, situated in their Atma, tesham sukham shashvatam netaresham. For only them is there shashvata sukha, netaresham, and definitely not for any other people. Na itaresham. Itaresham इतरेषां शाश्वतं सुखं न भवति. So who has that atmajnana, ye anupashyanti dhiraha tamatmastham tesham eva sukham netaresham. As we saw, by doing dharma, artha and kama, we can get ashashvata sukhas, anitya sukhas, but only in the apavarga, by atmajnana itself, do we get shashvata sukha. Jnanagnis sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. And then Yamadharma continues, Nityo nityanam chetanascetananam bahunam yo vidadhati kaman tamatmastham yenu pashyanti dhiraha tesham shantihi shashvati netaresham. Again, the same thing is being said in a slightly different way. Nityo nityanam chetanascetananam ekaha bahunam yaha vidadhati kaman. There is only one eternal thinker, thinking non-eternal thoughts, who, though one, fulfills the desires of many. Ekaha bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. Tamatmastham ye anupashyanti dhiraha. In the previous sloka we saw tesham sukham shashvatam netaresham. Here he says tesham shantihi shashvati netaresham. To those people that see that, perceive him within their self, they get eternal peace, and not to others. Netaresham. Shashvati shantihi. So nityah nityanam chetanah chetananam ekah bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. So there is only one eternal thinker, thinking non-eternal thoughts, who, though one, fulfills the desire of many. This is Paramat. And the person that knows this within themselves is just to get Shashvata Shanti or Moksha. Iti Katake. So this concludes the Kataka or Kathopanishad quotation. Next, he quotes two from Brihadaranyukopanishad. Brahmava idamagra asid ekamev tadekam sannavya nanyadosthi drashtva drashta. Brahmava idamagra asid ekamev tat ekam sannavya. In the beginning, this was Brahman only. Brahmava idameka asid. Brahmava idamagra asid ekam eva tadekam That being one was not strong enough. So there is no other seer but he. नान्यत् नान्यतः नान्यत् नान्यत् अतः असि द्रष्टा अस्ति द्रष्टा. There is no anyat drashta. There is no seer but he. Again, these are for Brihadaranyaka. अनेजदेकं मनसो जवीयः तत्र को मोहः कः शोकः एकत्वम् अनुपश्यतः इति ईशावास्ये. In Ishavasya Upanishad, he says that one is swifter than mind. Anejadekam manaso javiyah. Javiyah meaning it is faster, quicker than manas. Tatra kaha mohaha kaha shokaha ekatvam anupashyataha. So what sorrow, what trouble can there be to him that holds, that understands this one unity, anupashyataha, that sees this one unity. Iti Ishavasye. The next from Rigveda in Aitara Upanishad and in Karmakanda as well. Atmava idameka evagra asit nanyate kinchanam ishat is Aitara Upanishad. There it says the same thing. There in the previous it was said by Brahma Shabda, here it's being said as Atma Shabda. In the beginning, all this was Atma only. There was nothing else whatsoever. Atma va idameka agra idameva eka agra asit nanyate kinchanam ishat. There was not even any other thing. Nanyate kinchanam. Sarvesham bhutanam antarah purushah sah ma atma iti vidyat. The Purusha who is within all beings should be understood as the Self, Atma. Sarvesham Bhutanam Antaraha Purushaha Saha Ma'atma, Me Atma iti Vidya. The Purusha that is within all beings, Sarvesham Bhutanam Antaraha Purushaha Saha Me Atma. That should be known as my Atma iti Vidyat. Vidyat meaning it should be known. And then in the Karmakanda Bhagas, he quotes, Ekam sad vipra bahudha balanti, Ekam santam bahudha kalpayanti, Dyava bhumi janayan deva ekaha, Eko dadhara bhuvanani vishwaha, Eka evagnir bahudha samiddaha. All from Rigveda Samhita, Karmakanda. Indram mitram varunamagnimaa huratho divyassaso parno garutmaan ekam sadvipra bahudha vadantyakniyamamma atarishva namahuhu. Ekam sat vipraha bahudha vadanti is the first one. The vipraha, the learned people, they call one by many names. And what? Indra, Mitra, Varuna, Agni, all these. Indram, Mitram, Varuna, Magnima, Hurataha. So all these are actually called as only one by learned people. Ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti. They are called by many names, but there is only one. Ekam sat bahudha vadanti. It is being said in many ways. Ekam santam bahudha kalpayanti is the next one. The one that is bahudha kalpayanti mean it is thought of, it is made up as many by Maya. Dyava bhumi janayan deva ekaha. And the one that upholds the entire universe, Dyava bhumi, the sky and the earth, janayan deva ekaha, that one only. Eko dadhara bhuvanani vishva, the one that sustains the entire universe, that one that has the bhara, the one that carries the entire universe. Eko dadhara bhuvanani vishva, eka evagnir bahudha samiddaha. Like how there is only one Agni, but there are multiple indhanas, samiddaha. Like there, that one Agni can have multiple fuels. Eko eva Agnihi bahuda samiddaha iti Rigvede. Sadeva somyedamagra asit ekam eva advitiyam iti chandogye. The same thing is being said as in the Chandogya Upanishad. In the beginning, there was only one, that which is only one without a second. Sadeva somyam, tadeva somyedam agra asit ekameva advitiyam. So, in the beginning, in the Srishtikala, there was only one, which we saw Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam. And this does not have a second. Ekameva advitiyam. Iti Chandogya. Next, he quotes 6 places from Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita. This Gita having the Sara of all the Upanishads, as we see in the Dhyana Shlokas. Sarvopanishado Gabo Dogdha Gopal Partho Vatsas Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gita Mritam Mahat is known as Gita Upanishad. That is why in the Parayana Samaya we see Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyaya. So it is being said as Gita Upanishad, not even as Bhagavad Gita by Bhagavan Adi Shankara. So here he quotes 6 places. Sarvabhuta sthithai yo mam bhajatyekatvamasthitah sarvadha vartamanopi sayogi mayi vartate vidya vaniga sampanne brahmane gapi hastini shunichaiva shvapake cha panditas samadarshinaha ahamatma gudakesha sarvabhuta shayasthitah ahamadishcha madhyam cha bhutanam anta eva cha yada bhuta pृथक् bhavam ekastham anupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate तथा यथा प्रकाशयत्येकः कृत्स्नं लोकम् इमं रविः क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृत्स्नं प्रकाशयति भारत सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. These 6 quotations are now quoted now. So after quoting Shruti in both Upanishad Bhaga and Karmakanda, now Smriti, Bhagavad Gita is being quoted. The first one is regarding the yogi lakshana. It comes in the Atma Samyama Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, which gives certain upayas to meditation. There, the yogi lakshana is being discussed upon. For that, he says, who is a yogi? Sarvabhuta sthitam yo mam bhajati ekatvam asthitah sarvatha vartamanaha api saha yogi mayi vartate. The one that is in yoga, that is established in unity, worships me, abiding in all beings. Sarvabhuta sthitham. Yaha mam bhajati. So it's not saying Krishnam bhajati as Gopala or Vasudeva Sutta or anything. He is saying the one that worships me, the one that praises me, bhajati. Bhajana we say, right? Same dhatu, bhajati, ekattam sarvabhuta sthitam. The one that sees me as within, the one within all beings, sarvatha vartamanaha api saha yogi mayi vartate. That yogi is always within me, vartamanopi. The next quotation is Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunichaiva Shvapake cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. The Pandita are the learned one. In second chapter itself, like a sutra, Bhagavan starts Ashocyanan Vashochastum Prajna Vadamscha Bhashase Gatasuna Gatasumscha Nanushocanti Panditaha. This Nanushocanti Panditaha. Panditaha na Anushocanti is almost like a sutra rupa. We can take this itself as one sutra and do vakyartha on this. Panditaha na Anushocanti. Panditas do not get trouble. They do not get worried. In that context, this Panditaha, that type of Pandita, Jnani, Vidya Viniga Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunichaiva Shvapake cha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. The sage looks equally upon a Brahmana with Vidya and Vinaya, Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Brahmanam, and a Gavi in the cow, Hastini and in an elephant, Shunichaiva Shvapakecha in a dog, and the one that cooks and eats the dog. The person sees equal. The sage looks equally on all those people within Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Brahmana, within a cow, within an elephant, within a dog, and the one that eats it as well. These people have the ekatvam, Pandita. Again, in Vibhuti Yoga, Bhagavan says, Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhuta Shayasthitaha Ahamadischa madhyanja bhutanam anta eva cha. The arambha or beginning of the vibhutis is this shloka itself. Next he says Vedanam Samavedosmi, all those shlokas are there. The first vibhuti, or how, what is the praise of Paramatma? He starts off with this Advaita only. So here, within any, whatever we look at, the Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Itihasa, everything, the Advaita Bhava is so clear that it cannot be refuted by anybody. Right. We can take Bhagavad Gita, it was done Upadesha by Krishna as a Vaishnava Grantha and everything. But in the first, whatever he starts off with the Vibhuti itself, there is no Bheda. Right. Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhutasha Yasthitaha Ahamadischa Madhyancha Bhutanam Anta Evacha. And then only after this he says Adityanam Aham Vishnu Jyotisham Raviram Shuman. All these are later being discussed. The first Vibhuti is know me as the Atma. Ahamatma Gudakesha. The one. Hey Gudakesha, hey Arjuna, Aham Atma Sarvabhuta Sthitaha. I am the Atma which is sitting in the hearts of all beings. We saw previously Dakhram Vipapam Parame Eshma Bhutan Yat Pundarekam Puramadhyasagastham. Like that. Know me, I am. When you are, these vibhutis are done, are to be done upasana of as a upaya for bhakti. So when we look at this vastu, know as Ishvara's this within that vastu, or which is the Shreshtatama of within those vastus. So Adityanam Aham Vishnu, Jyotisham Raviram Shuman, Marichihi Marutam Asmi, Nakshratranam Aham Shashi. Like that, here the vibhuti start off with I am the self, Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhutasha Yastitaha. Hey Gudakesha, Sarvabhutasha Yastitaha Atma Aham. Ahamadischa Madhyanja Bhutanam Anta Evacha. And I am the both the Srishti, Sthiti and Laya. I am both the beginning, middle and end of all bhutas. Ahamadischa Madhyanja Bhutanam Anta Evacha. Adihi meaning beginning, Madhyam, middle and Antaha, end of all bhutas. Bhutanam Anta Evacha. Next in Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhagya Yoga, Krishna says, Yada Bhuta Prathak Bhavam Ekastham Anupashyati, Tata Evacha Vistaram Brahma Sampadyate Tada. So when one perceives that the varied natures of beings are rooted in one and proceeds from it, then he reaches Brahman. Yada Bhuta Prathak Bhavam Ekastham Anupashyati. Tataha evacha vistaram brahma sampadyate tata. Then he can become a brahma sampat. In the same shloka, in the same chapter also, yatha prakashagatyekah krishnam lokamimam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha krishnam prakashagati bharata. As this one sun, this one Surya illuminates the whole earth, so the kshetra, the Lord of the kshetra of the body illuminates every kshetra, Bharata. Yatha prakashagatyekah kritsnam meaning jagat sarvam, lokam imam ravihi surya, kshetram kshetri tatha kritsnam prakashagati Bharata. This kshetram, the Lord of the kshetra illuminates every kshetra, prakashayati. And the Charma Shloka, सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. Meaning, renouncing all dharma, come unto me for shelter with the jnana that Bhagavan and the Bhakta are same. And don't fear, I will liberate from all papas. Aham tva sarva papebhya moksha ishyami ma shuchah, don't be afraid. Iti Gitopanishadsu. All these are from Gita. Next in Harivamsha, he quotes Harireka Sadadhyayah Bhavatvis Sattvasamsthitaihi Omityevam Sada Vipraha Bhatatadyagata Keshavam Patatadyata Keshavam. You Patata, meaning Tvam Patata, you should constantly meditate upon Hari, centered in your Sattvika nature. O Vipraha, Vipras, constantly recite the Ekakshara of Pranava. and contemplate upon Keshava, is what Harivamsha says. And then Ascharya khalu devanam ekastvam purushottama dhanyaschasmi mahabaho loke nanyosti kaschana. O Purusha, you should know among the devas, Mahabaho, this one with great arms, is blessed, and there is no other in the world. Ascharya khalu devanam ekastam purushottama dhanyaschasmi mahabaho loke nanyah asti kaschana. And there is no any other thing. You should know that among the devas there is this Mahabahu, and if you know that, you are blessed. But there is no other deva in that world. There is only this Paramatma. Iti Harivamshe Bhavati Manormahat Bhyakyapini Shruti Yadve Kincha Manuravat Tat Bheshajam Iti. Next, there is one Shruti that says whatever written by Manu is said to be Bheshaja or medicine. Bhavati Manoho Mahatmyakyapini Shrutihi. Though it says this Shruti, this the Taittiriya Samhita mantra says Yadvai Kincha Manuravat Tat Vai Bheshajam Tat Bheshajam. So whatever said by Manu is said to be Bheshaja or medicine. So medicine to what? Not any Laukika Sharira dosha, but a medicine for samsara. Samsarasya bheshajam, from freedom of samsara. So that Manu, that has been praised by the Vedas themselves, right? This Vedas are quoting that whatever Manu says is bheshajam. That Manu himself also says that there is only one. Iti manuna choktam sarvabhutasthamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani sampashchan vai swarajyam adhigacchati. So the one that sacrifices to the self, Atmayaji, alone equally recognizing the self in all beings, and all beings in the self becomes self-luminous. So sarvabhutasthamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani sampashyan Atmayaji vai swarajyam adhigacchati. Swarajyam becomes, he attains this jnana. He becomes self-luminous. This Atmayaga is found in Upanishad. तस्यैवं विदुषो यज्ञस्यात्मा यजमानः श्रद्धा पत्नी शरीरमिध्ममुरो वेदल्लोमानि बर्हिर्वेदशिखा हृदयं यूपः काम आज्यं मन्युः पशुस्तपोग्निर्दमश्शमगिता दक्षिणा वाग्घोता अप्राण उद्गाता. So when we have a Shrota Yaga, there are various aspects. Ritik, in those Ritiks we have the Hota, Brahma, Adharyu, Udgata. So he says, Prana Udgata, Chakshuradharyuhu, Mano Brahma, Dakshina, Vaghota. Vak is the Hota. Prana Udgata. This Prana is the Udgata or the Samaveda Ritvik. Chakshuradharyuhu. The eyes are the Yajurveda Ritvik, the Adharyu. Mano Brahma. This Manas is said to be Brahma or the Atharvana Veda Ritvik. Like that. Manyuf Pashuhu. This Krodha is the Pashu that is said to be sacrificed. This is called the Atma Yaga. Like how we have in the Shrota Yagas with the Sakshat Pashu and the Ritviks and everything. In the Atma Yaga, one himself, recognizing the Atma, he sacrifices to the self alone. He is a Atma Yaji, as prescribed in the Upanishad. And Manu says that this Atma Yaji gets Jnana. Iti. Again, there are more quotations following written by Manu in Manusmriti, which we can, along with the Vishnu Purana quotations, we can continue in the next.
You done, Pranav?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pranav, for your...
you can stop sharing.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Namaskaram. Thank you, Pranav, for that excellent, discussions about all the quotations from Adi Shankara. We have still in the Paramamyo, Mahatteja, Paramamyo, in the Pavitranam, Pavitramyo, Mangalanam, Chamangalam. It is like the way you are describing it, it is like the Adhyasa Bhashya in Brahma Sutra, where Adi Shankara talks about the Adhyasa for a long time before even getting into the Brahma Sutra. So this reminds me of that, where if for this one sloka, Adi Shankara is quoting all the Upanishads and condensing the the meaning for us to understand when we go further. And it is very nice of you to bring all those various quotations from Katha Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, and Gita Upanishad, and all that in reference to that particular sloka. Very versatile and very educative for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have questions after. Let's do the Mangalam now, and then we'll go for the questions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
विद्यारण्यर के विद्याशंकर के वागीश्वरी के वज्रदेग गरुड़ आंजनेयर के श्रीवल्ली देव सेना समेत सुब्रमण्यर के तुंगभद्रै के श्रृंगनिवासिनी के श्रृंगेरी पुरिயில் நிலைத்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே सच्चिदानंद शिव अभिनव नृसिंह भारती के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु सार्वभौमर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु विद्यातीर्थर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु भारती तीर्थर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु विदुशेखर भारती के मंगलम गुरु श्री चंद्रमौलीश्वर के शक्ति गणपति शारदाम्बिक शंकराचार्यर के शक्ति गणपति महागणपति शारदाம்பிகை के श्रृंगेरी पुरिயில் நிறைந்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே